thank God that the brothers on the rise now. Endless celebrations all in my house. Levitating now, I'm super duper fly now.
What's up, guys, and welcome to FPL Today. I'm the man in the know, JNO, and welcome to my team, the preview for Gameweek 17. We are getting almost to halfway through the FPL season, and we're getting to a very busy Christmas fixture period. So this week we've had a bit more time to think about what we're going to do moving forward as the games come quick and fast. But before we get into this video, check out the sponsor of this video, Fantasy Football Fix. This is where I get all of my FPL stats from. Here is a quick video from them. Use artificial intelligence and Optastats to build your new squad for the new season. Analyse the highest owned players and most popular starting squad currently entered into the FPL. Upload your squad at fantasyfootballfix.com now to improve your FPL performance. Click the link below or head over to fantasyfootballfix.com to get started. So let's get on with the video, and first we're going to quickly cover how I did in Game Week 16, and it was an okay game week. We saw a slight drop in rank to 758,720th with a game week rank of around 2.7 million, now seeing myself on 875 points with game week points at 60. There was a little bit of fortune for me as we did see Jack Grealish come on for Sadio Mane to give me an extra 6 points, otherwise it would have only been 54 points for the game week. But Grealish was someone I brought in for this game week, looking towards the game week 18 fixtures where I felt like my side was a bit too involved in all of the big games, which I couldn't necessarily predict. Outside of Grealish's 6 points, we did get a clean sheet from Serge Aurier, although he didn't get any attacking returns. And we also got some big hauls from Heung Min-Son and Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy just being the better captaincy call over Heung Min-Son, with 13 points doubled to 26 instead of what would have been 12 points doubled to 24. So pretty much carried by 4 players in this game week, but it was still a respectable score that didn't see me lose too much ground. As for the bench, you can see that apart from Rico getting 1 point, and to be honest, Bournemouth are now looking like a side where I can't really trust Rico to be in the starting 11 anymore. Connolly and Mane both didn't start. Connolly was actually the first sub as well, so it was good news for me when he wasn't even in the squad, meaning I would get Grealish's points, who was the second sub for Sadio Mane. However, Sadio Mane got the rest that Mohamed Salah and Firmino got the game week before, and to be fair, I'm still in the Sadio Mane camp as far as Mane or Salah right now. We'll see how that changes over Christmas. But let's get on to the important things, and that is, what am I going to do for Game Week 17? Right now, the team is probably going to line up in a 4-4-2 with Pope in goal against Newcastle at home. It's nice to actually have Pope in what looks like a fixture he might get a clean sheet in after 2 rough game weeks. I held him because I really didn't want to use a transfer on a goalkeeper with what was coming around the corner in Game Week 18. We then have Lundstram, Söyüncü, Trent and Aurier as my defenders, all of them having what looks like decent fixtures. I suppose you could say Spurs against Wolves could be a difficult one for Spurs. That also implies the Heung Min-Son, who is vice-captain at the moment. But Trent, Söyüncü and Lundstram with Watford at home, Norwich at home and Aston Villa at home, I'm hopeful for points there, although Aston Villa do look very good on the attack, so maybe not clean sheet points for Lundstram. And of course, Trent missed by minutes the clean sheet that Liverpool finally got, because he didn't start and he came on after he would have been on long enough to get clean sheet points, which is really annoying. But anyway, in midfield we do have De Bruyne against Arsenal away, Pulisic against Bournemouth at home, Mane against Watford at home, and Son, of course, as we already said, with Wolves away. Now, Mane against Watford, again, there's hope there for him to start and for there to be good returns there. Pulisic against Bournemouth. Bournemouth look there for the taking for Chelsea, and hopefully Chelsea will bounce back after their disappointing performance against Everton. And De Bruyne, I'm surprised I'm going to say this, but right now he's probably the midfielder that I'm considering the most to transfer out, because Man City do have tough fixtures and he just isn't returning the points. And Man City do look a bit vulnerable sometimes in games. However, with Arsenal away as the next fixture, it's going to be difficult for me to take him out for that one. And then up front, we've got Abraham against Bournemouth at home. Abraham could have scored in that Everton game, to be fair to him. Just didn't roll his way in that one. And Jamie Vardy, probably with the captaincy armband again against Norwich at home. I can't really see myself taking the armband off of him until he stops really returning. Like I said on FPL FYI last week, for my captaincy choices, Sometimes I try and get a bit too complicated. Right now, keep it simple, stupid. Keeping it on Vardy has been working. I'll probably keep it on him. As for substitutes, right now, Jack Grealish still doesn't get into the starting 11, even though he got 6 points last game week. With Sheffield United away, Sheffield United, I feel like, can put on a very good defensive performance. Do I fancy Aston Villa to probably get a goal? Yes. Am I 100% sure Grealish will be involved? I mean, he's my favoured way into that Aston Villa side, but it's possible they get a goal without him. So Grealish is the first substitute, but he's the first substitute I'm happy with in a busy fixture period. Connolly is a bit of a concern for me right now, with him not being in the squad for the last game for Brighton Hove Albion. And also I feel like potentially if I can get the money, there are better third striker options out there. And then Rico with Chelsea away, I just cannot put my faith in that Bournemouth side right now, especially with all the injury concerns they currently have. So what moves am I actually considering making? And there's one player I really want to get in, and it may be that I've missed the bandwagon and he could actually drop out of form, which I am concerned about with him and another player I am currently looking at. But it has been someone I've fancied bringing in. Just the way my team was laid out was going to be a difficult transfer to bring in and make, while I still had some faith in the likes of Kevin De Bruyne eventually returning, which has of course waned recently. And the first player I am looking at is Marcus Rashford at 8.9 million. In the last 4 game weeks, he has been very impressive. Now, Man United, it has been said, do better against sides that don't park the bus and sides that are easy to break down, because they're attacking sides like Chelsea, like Man City, who will go at them and then they can counter-attack against. But Rashford has looked good in all the games I've watched him in recently. He's passed the eye test, he's passing the stats test, and hopefully this is something he can continue. And if Man United are turning a corner, he is someone I do want to bring into the side. The issue is he'd probably be coming in for Tammy Abraham. Now, with the fixtures the way they're currently lined up, I do fancy that as a move. 38 points, 4 goals, 2 assists, 14 shots on goal, 10 from inside the box, 6 on target, with 5 big chances, 3 of which he's scored, and 3 chances created, all of which have resulted in a shot on target. I'm liking the way that Man United side looked. The issue for me, of course, is whether or not they are going to have the same kind of performances against easier opposition. As you can see, in the next 4 game weeks, we've got Man United against Everton, Watford, Newcastle and Burnley. Now, for me, Everton, under Duncan Ferguson, unless they have brought in someone new after I record this video, I feel like they will go for a result in this one, but they might play for a draw, which is a concern to me. And I think Duncan Ferguson has them fighting for their Premier League survival pretty much, and also their places in the side. Then with Watford next, don't know what Watford will look like under their new manager Nigel Pearson, but Watford look like a side that aren't necessarily strong defensively, so maybe Manchester United can get something there. However, then Newcastle do look quite organised defensively, and then Burnley again can be a side that can put on a good defensive performance, and Burnley are at home, which does favour them. So I'd almost feel better if Man United had some tough opposition in there, because that seems to favour their play style. So we move on to the other players I am considering, and I can't believe I'm actually saying this. I'm considering 2 Southampton players, and there is a big issue for me here with suggesting 2 Southampton players, purely because I don't think I want 2 of them. They don't seem to me as a side I really want to invest much of my 15 slots into. If we look at their fixtures, we can see West Ham, Aston Villa, Chelsea and Crystal Palace. Now, I fancy them against West Ham. Aston Villa aren't that good defensively, so I fancy them getting some attacking returns there. And then Crystal Palace, also a game where I think it could go Southampton's way. Chelsea is one I'm a bit worried about in Gameweek 19, but potentially I could bench them, especially if I've only got one of them. And the stats are there to back him up in the last 4 game weeks, as we have Danny Ings at 6.3 million and Ward-Prowse at 5.9 million being my favoured ways into that side. There are some differentials in there that you could maybe take a punt on, but these 2 seem like the best go-to options for me. Points-wise, Ings has got 32 to Ward-Prowse's 20. Ings also has 4 goals, whereas Ward-Prowse has 2 goals and 1 assist. Shots on goal is in favour of Danny Ings, of course, 11 shots on goal, 9 from inside the box, whereas Ward-Prowse has 9 shots on goal, 3 from inside the box. Shots on target very similar, however, 5 to 4, just in Ings' favour. Big chances also in Ings' favour. 3 big chances. He scored all of them, which is good. Big chances for Ward-Prowse, 2. He's only scored 1 of them. However, chances created, of course, is going to be in Ward-Prowse's favour, 8-5. However, Ings' chances created have resulted in 4 shots on target, whereas Ward-Prowse's have only resulted in 3. The question is, can I actually bring myself to bring in 2 Southampton players? And the answer to that is, I really don't think I will. It seems like a big gamble to trust that Southampton side. So the other sides I have looked at are Crystal Palace for a player from there, Brighton Hove Albion next with Newcastle, West Ham and Southampton to follow. That looks like a good fixture list, and the player I am considering from them is Wilfried Zaha. There's rumours of him potentially moving to Chelsea. He does seem to do well when there is the possibility of a transfer around the corner. However, I'm just not feeling Wilfried Zaha in Crystal Palace at the moment still, even though he has had some returns in certain game weeks. Then we are also looking at Brighton, Crystal Palace, Sheffield United, Tottenham Hotspurs and Bournemouth in the next 4. Not particularly keen on that Sheffield United game in Game Week 18 because I want a strong fixture in that game week. But there is a player in that Brighton side that I have been watching for a while now and passes the eye test but doesn't necessarily pass the stats test. So the 2 players I am looking at are Trossard at 5.8 million and Wilfried Zaha at 6.8. Of course, a 1 million saving there if I did go for Trossard. However, points-wise and pretty much stats-wise, Zaha does beat Trossard in most areas. There's just something stopping me. I don't feel like Zaha is the move to make. The reason I'm looking at these 2 is because I don't want 2 Southampton players though. Zaha, 23 points is a good return for the last 4 game weeks. 2 goals, 7 shots on goal, 7 from inside the box, 2 on target, 1 big chance which he didn't score, and 4 chances created with 3 resulting in a shot on target. Comparing Trossard to that, it's 2 assists instead of the 2 goals. Only 3 shots on goal, only 1 from inside the box compared to 7 and 7. No shots on target, which is not a stat I want to see. And then 1 big chance, of course, which he didn't score, which is the same as Wilfried Zaha. And then chance creation, which potentially could have saved Trossard, is still 4 with 3 resulting in a shot on target, which is the same as Zaha. So, potentially, over the next 2 game weeks, I'm maybe transferring out Kevin De Bruyne just because I really don't fancy their fixtures coming up into the Christmas period. Of course, Man City could turn the corner and suddenly hit a vein of form, and Kevin De Bruyne could be very important to that. However, if I drop De Bruyne to someone like a Ward-Prowse, a Trossard or a Zaha, I can then bring in Ings for Connolly. I can then also bring in the likes of Rashford for Tammy Abraham. Potentially the cash is even there to just bring in Rashford and have a front 3 of Tammy, Rashford and Vardy. The other players that are maybe close to the chopping block, but not as close as Kevin De Bruyne. Pulisic, I need some returns from him. Since I brought him in, he's not had any, which is really disappointing considering the underlying stats he's still putting out. But I feel like there is a goal coming there. Also, of course, as soon as the fixture list looks a little bit more in favour of Tottenham Hotspurs, I am interested in getting another Spurs player in. Not sure I want to really triple up though. I've tried that before this season and it's never worked. So Aurier and Son are in there for now, but of course there is the option to downgrade Son to a Dele Alli or someone of that ilk if they're going to match Son for points. But other than that, I'm quite happy with the side as it is moving forward. So hopefully the moves I am planning to make, and hopefully they have been well calculated, will pay off for me in the Christmas period. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode as always. If you have enjoyed it, please do hit that like button, subscribe and hit that notification bell, as well as checking out all the links in the description down below, including the sponsor of this video, Fantasy Football Fix. I hope you have a great festive period if you are too busy to get too involved in FPL in the up and coming game weeks. Hopefully you get to spend plenty of time with your family. However, I will be spending plenty of time at work, unfortunately. With all that being said, I've been JNO, this has been FPL Today, and remember, it's all about the game.